It's a well-known fact that if you want to sign an English player, you're going to end up paying double the price. The latest player from English shores to make a mega money move is Kyle Walker, who will cost Manchester City £50 million, equalling the record fee paid for a defender, with David Luiz also costing that much when he joined PSG. So with Kyle Walker becoming the most expensive Englishman of all time, let's look at the priciest English 11 ever. In goal it's Jordan Pickford. The 23-year-old would be the most expensive goalkeeper in Premier League history if it wasn't for Man City signing Edison from Benfica for £35 million, with Everton paying Sunderland an initial £25 million for Pickford, with another £5 million due in add-ons. The Washington-born stopper commanded a high fee after a great season at the Stadium of Light, made even more impressive due to the dog-shit defending in front of him. It's a lot of money for a goalkeeper, but at 23, Everton will surely get the best years out of what is a future England number 1, so now it's time for Goodison Park to get the rave on. Right back is Kyle Walker. It initially looked like Kyle Walker was going to become the most expensive defender in history, but it now looks like the deal will only match the £50 million PSG paid Chelsea to sign David Luiz back in 2014. Is Walker worth £50 million? In this market, maybe, because he's probably been the best right back in the country for a few years now, and with the inflated prices going round, maybe £50 million is just the going rate for a player like Walker. City fans won't mind, as long as he does the business, but they might not enjoy this tweet Walker posted back in 2012. All you Man City fans, you can talk now, we will just see at the end of the season. Was you all there when City was nowhere to be seen? Hashtag glory fans. Awkward that. Centre back is John Stones. Another Man City player, Stones moved to Eastlands last summer for a massive £47.5 million to make him the most expensive British defender, a title that his England teammate Kyle Walker has now took off him. Everyone laughed at the fee for Stones, and then everyone kept laughing all season at his performances. Poor guy, I quite like him, but what do I know? He's alongside Michael Keane. Now things get slightly blurred here, as you weren't sure whether to go for Keane or Ferdinand. The latter moved to Manchester United in that awful white suit back in 2002 for £29.1 million, but the overall fee ended up being in excess of £30 million after agents' fees. While Keane's deal to Everton cost the Toffees an initial £25 million, that will rise to £30 million. And since agent fees is always a dark area, we're going to go with Michael Keane. The Manchester United Academy graduate had a great season with Burnley last time out, and they've paid the price. That'll teach Sean Dyche for getting his players performing at a really high level. Left back is Luke Shaw. Poor little Luke Shaw. It looked like he had the world at his feet when he left Southampton to join Manchester United for £30 million back in 2014. Since then he's broke his leg, missed pretty much a full season and been shouted at by Jose Mourinho. You know when you just wish you hadn't bothered sometimes. On the right of midfield it's David Beckham. It happened 14 years ago, but David Beckham's move from Manchester United to Real Madrid is still one of the biggest in terms of English players moving clubs. In fact, he's the most expensive Englishman to move to a foreign club, and is the only player in this team who moved outside of the Premier League. Beckham's move to Real Madrid in 2003 for £24.5 million was a huge deal, a real Galactico signing, at a time when Los Blancos had the likes of Zinedine Zidane, Luis Figo, Raúl, Roberto Carlos and Ronaldo. Back when he didn't have to be called Fat Ronaldo. What a time to be alive that was. In the middle it's James Milner. Manchester City had to pay Aston Villa £26 million for James Milner's services back in 2010, which was extortionate at the time. Milner has gone from being a jinky and flying winger to a reliable player that can do a job anywhere on the pitch, so much so he spent all of last season playing at left back. Of course, everyone pokes fun at the England international because apparently he's boring, so much so that there's a Twitter account called Boring James Milner, which has more than 500,000 followers. Their last tweet came after a 0-0 draw between Man United and Southampton. I've got to say, I'm still reeling from that Man United Southampton game last night. Jose Mourinho really gets me on the edge of my seat. Ha ha ha, that was very funny. He's alongside Adam Lallana. King of the Cruyff turn, other than Johan Cruyff I suppose, Adam Lallana's move to Merseyside from Southampton was worth £25 million, as the England international led the Saints' exodus back in 2014. Was he worth it? Based on his performances last season, definitely, finding a total new gear under Jurgen Klopp's tutelage. On the left of midfield it's Raheem Sterling. The fourth and final player to have joined Manchester City in this team, Sterling cost the citizens an initial £44 million in 2015, rising to £46 million, after a contract dispute at Liverpool tarnished his Anfield reputation. Sterling was once considered the next big thing by the Reds. Nowadays he's just booed and hissed at whenever he's in the presence of Liverpool fans. Up front we've got Andy Carroll. Christ, Liverpool have spent a lot of money on English players. Admittedly not as much as Manchester City, but Stones and Sterling might prove their worth, whereas Stuart Downer was never going to set the world alight, and £35 million on Andy Carroll was just madness. Mike Ashley snapped Liverpool's hand off when they offered £35 million for the Geordie striker, so much so that he sent Carroll down in his own helicopter. Unlike Ashley's helicopter, Carroll never took off at Anfield and was sent off to West Ham with a distinct lack of bubble wrap, because he's been injured pretty much ever since. And finally it's Wayne Rooney. He's just returned to Everton, but his transfer from the Toffees to Old Trafford is still one of the biggest in terms of English players. Sir Alex Ferguson gave Everton £27 million to make the youngster a Red Devil 13 years ago, obviously not of his own money, and it was money well spent, with Rooney going on to win all there is to win, becoming Manchester United captain and their all-time leading goal scorer. Yet some people still say he was overhyped, as he returns to Everton with his tail between his legs and his Zimmer frame in hand. The poor bloke's only 31. So that's the most expensive English 11 ever. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And check out our newest channel HITC 7s, the new home of football lists, running down the 7 best, worst, funniest, weirdest moments of football's past and present.